Welcome to HR with Heart. I am your host, Jemima House, and today I'm going to offer you a short reflection on the real cost of disengagement in the workplace and 3 practical solutions that you can implement starting today, as always. So let's get into it. When we're talking about disengagement, there are 2 separate factors here. One is the cost to the company, and one is the cost to you as the leader. So first of all, let's have a look at the company costs. So if you refer to the stats from Deloitte in 2024, the cost of disengagement and the subsequent absenteeism, replacement, recruitment and training is about £51 billion per year. And if you extrapolate that out to a 200-person company, it's roughly 5k a week. That's a lot of money walking out of the door. Let's have a quick look at the cost to you as the HR leader. Now, what came to my mind very quickly was being a mum and looking after small children. So my kids are not small anymore, but I have very distinctive memories of when they were. Have you ever tried to get a toddler to do something that they're just not interested in? Completely disengaged from? It's like pulling teeth. And I have to say, as we get older, things don't change that much. You've probably heard the phrase that you cannot motivate somebody else. They have to find their own motivation. And that's true. So when you're attempting to raise engagement or interest with staff, you have to be on the same page as them. You can't just, in my analogy terms, offering a lolly to a toddler only works a little bit of the time. And that's how I see what I call the wellbeing patches. So the expensive add-ons that companies invest in, the perks of the fridge full of snacks in the kitchen, or the expensive EAP program that nobody uses. And just by the by, a real stat from that is that the uptake on EAPs is about 15%, and that's as of 2024. So it doesn't really matter how good it is if nobody is going to use it. So there are costs to the profitability and the performance within the company, but there are also costs to you as the leader, because let's face it, it's not fun to be having to do your job with lots of other people who don't want to be there or who are really struggling within their roles and constantly bringing problems to you over and over. So how do you sort that problem out? Well, as always, each week I give you 3 actionable tips that you can take away with you. So the first one I want to ask you about is, have you noticed how people light up when they feel really seen and they feel appreciated? It's so lovely to see. You can do this. I know you have one-to-ones with your people. You can just spend a couple of minutes deciphering, what is that person really good at that is not really spoken of? Maybe they just do it automatically as part of their job. Maybe it's just part of their personality. Maybe they're a really good listener. Maybe they have exquisite attention to detail. How often is that spoken about? So next time you have a one-to-one with your people, can you offer them something that you have noticed? You've taken particular attention to notice. Hey, you're so good at this, and just watch their response. Watch how their body changes. Watch the impact it has on them to offer that to them. Now, we're not talking about the old school style shit sandwich. Sorry for swearing, but that's what it's called, where you say something good before you offer some constructive criticism, and then you say something good on the end as well. Not like that. We're talking about a genuine bit of noticing that you can offer to them, because this champions connection. And connection is 10 out of 10 times going to make you a better leader. It's not about how much of the time you can get people to do what you say. It's not about how much authority you wield, although that is part of it, but that will come naturally. Your leadership will absolutely transform when you start to interact with your people from a different placement. So the perspective shift is absolutely palpable. That's point number one. I wish I could hear what you're noticing about your people and what you're going to tell them. And I wish I could see their responses as well. I know this is really powerful. I've done it many times. The second point I want to make is that leaders always go first. This is something that you will know, of course, but is it something that you do? So instead of acting like an AI bot, instead of being the poster child for your company, how about humanizing who you are? Now, I know for a fact that many are afraid to do this because they feel that it will compromise their leadership position. I'm here to tell you that that is just not true. The more human you are in your approach, the more connection you will foster with your people. And when you feel connected as humans, there is a natural respect that starts to blossom. And telling the truth becomes second nature. If you want data, real data from your people, if you want to do surveys that actually mean something, so you can actually move the needle in your company or in the company you work for, people need to feel safe enough to tell you the truth. And by you going first and being a human being, you are starting to create the conditions for them to tell you that truth. So I'm not talking about being cringy or oversharing. I'm talking about being 1% more human in your meetings, in your one-to-ones, as you lead, and being intentional. So before you have interaction with your people, can you clarify what your intention is for that interaction? And that's different to having an agenda, because when you have an agenda, that's when people feel manipulated. But when you just have clarity of intention, again, you up the connection. And when the connection flourishes, so does everything else in the organisation. The final point I want to leave you with is book in the update, the live half-day training that I'm offering. Why? Because 2026 is going to feel easier for you and is going to be more successful when you attend this training and learn how to lead coherently, which is an absolute game changer. That's why to do it now. And why this? Because this is the upgraded operating system. Your leadership model that you currently use, that you currently is expected by everyone, is just seen as the norm, is no longer fit for purpose. It's a top-down construct that actually damages the well-being of your people. So the update is your lead-in to coherent leadership so that you can understand it, but it also includes a diagnostic tool that you can use to give clarity on where the stress points are in your teams, what needs your attention, what needs to be a priority moving forward after Christmas. And it's a really simple tool, but it's really, really potent. So all you need to do is message me, get in touch with me, or you can send me an email at hello@jemimahouse.uk. And yeah, that's my name. And yeah, just ask me for the details of the update so that you can book it in, so that we can get you running, firing on all cylinders, running super well for the closeout of this year in preparation for a smooth and successful 2026. Thank you for listening. I will see you again this time next week.